They used to call 60 Minutes, they used to call the Mike Wallace, Ed Bradley lineup Murderer's Row because they would crush you. It was scary to go on there. Liars would be exposed. No politician was spared because they cared more about the reputation of 60 Minutes as a hard-hitting journalistic outfit than they did about promoting somebody's candidacy. My apologies. Bill seems like a nice man, but you know what? Bill, you're too nice. You were too nice for this particular job. And you put on the kid gloves, you took care of her, and we all saw it. Anybody who's a journalist or who pays attention to the news saw it. Maybe it'll go harder for her when she appears on Stephen Colbert. Sure, yeah, sure it will. Kamala Harris did terribly. She doesn't know anything about foreign policy. I mean, that is one of the things that she knows nothing about foreign policy. When Trump became president, he had been a businessman. He had never been a world leader. He traveled the world. He was a businessman. But he figured it out. And he figured it out darn quick because he had a lifetime of experience running things, making big decisions, and understanding the world. She's been vice president for almost 4 years, and she still knows nothing. Nothing. It was really kind of stunning to watch how clueless she was on her own economic plans, her lies about immigration, and when we veered into Ukraine, China, and Israel, I mean, it was like blank stares and absolutely no answers. We're going to go through it. They took about 30 minutes to go through the Kamala Harris interview with Bill, including commercials. It was longer than that, and it had many cuts, you could see. There were gentle pushback moments from Bill. He's been her go-to correspondent at CBS. When she goes over there, that's who she likes to sit with. There's a reason for that. This marked her third sit down with him. But when it came time to actually answering the questions, she once again stuck to her script, which 9 times out of 10 meant saying nothing. All right, so we have 2 guests who are going to come on in just a bit, and we're going to talk about some stories in the news, this, and her other interviews, because she just sat down on The View. I got thoughts on that as well. Tim Walz also out there. But I think we should go through the 60 Minutes interview, just you and I together. All right. So overall, the 2 most telling exchanges came on the economy and immigration. And in those areas, at least in the second area, Bill Whitaker did push her. All right. So I'm going to get to those, but I'm just going to start at the beginning in case you missed it. He starts off with, what can the U.S. do to stop war in the Middle East from spinning out of control? Fine. She has no idea. She gives some inane answer about, this is what she does often. She tries to go back and give you a little history lesson. Like, let me take you back because it's great filler. It, in her mind, makes her sound smart, like she understands the issue. And then she gives no policy prescription or forecast whatsoever. So it's great, right? It's just fill. I kind of understand some facts about this, but zero offerings in terms of what she intends to do about it. And this is, we have it. Let's watch.
What can the U.S. do at this point to stop this from spinning out of control?
Well, let's start with October 7. 1,200 people were massacred. And I maintain Israel has a right to defend itself, and how it does so matters. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. This war has to end.
We supply Israel with billions of dollars in military aid. And yet Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to be charting his own course. Does the U.S. have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu?
The work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Could you do that right now while you're sitting on 60 Minutes? Say something. What is your plan? So it's so incredibly frustrating to listen to her. The longer version of answer one, what can the U.S. do to stop this? Let's start with October 7th. 1,200 people were massacred, 250 hostages taken, including Americans, women brutally raped. That's good she admitted that, because some on her side don't. And as I said then, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. This is a jibe at Israel. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. They have. That's true. And that, too, is the fault of Hamas, which she forgot to add. This war has to end. Well, yes, Israel also would like the war to end, but they need to finish off their archenemy that tried to wipe them off the face of the map a year ago. That's what the issue is, which, of course, she doesn't acknowledge. Then Whitaker comes back. We supply Israel with billions of dollars in military aid, but Netanyahu seems to be charting his own course. You heard the tail end of this question. The Biden-Harris administration has pressed him to agree to a ceasefire. He's resisted. Gee, why could that be, Bill? What do you mean? I mean, hello, we know why he's resisted. Their country was attacked on a scale that dwarfs, if you look at population level, even 9/11 here. They want to finish off the group that attacked them before they lay down their weapons. Okay, whatever. He's resisted. You urged him not to go into Lebanon. He went in anyway. Does the U.S. have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu? Again, so what I'm getting at here is this is a leftist framing of the issue. It's a Palestinian-like framing of the issue. Like Netanyahu is this rogue agent who won't listen, to a Biden-Harris administration that really is worried about winning Michigan. That's them. That's what they're trying to do here. That's why they're pressuring Netanyahu. They know very well he intends to finish off this terrorist group before he pulls back. But instead, it's more fun to appeal to the Palestinian supporters, the Hamas supporters, by saying, you know, you've tried to pull this attack dog off of its mission, but apparently you don't have enough sway. She answers, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Huh? What? Do you have sway or don't you? Is this a long-worded way of saying we do diplomatic work with Netanyahu and it's an ongoing pursuit where we make clear our principles? Okay, I got hair in my mouth, sorry. Lip gloss plus hair, not a good combo. Okay, Bill Whitaker follows up. But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. Okay, she comes back. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. What? You see, she says nothing. The war needs to end because we need to win Michigan, and Michigan voters would like the war to end. But the reality is, it appears that the Arab voters in Michigan think Trump has a greater likelihood of ending the war because the polls just showed they're split right down the middle, whereas you would have expected them to favor Harris-Biden. They're split right down the middle. And Trump was asked about this issue on Hugh Hewitt's show yesterday. You know, why do you think that is? And Trump said, I think it's because they know I'll end the war. I'll end it. Okay. So we get her inanity. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the U.S. to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. You've said nothing. Then he says, do we have a real close ally in Netanyahu? And she can't answer that, right? Because she's not allowed to tie herself to Netanyahu because the leftists don't like him. So she says, I think with all due respect, the better question is, do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? The answer to that is yes. Again, I pointed this out yesterday. We had this question in advance. She won't even say that Israel's an ally. All she can say is the people. Well, you know what's also true? Like the Russian people love us. They do. I've seen it for myself. And a lot of Americans have sympathies for the Russian people who are good, lovely people. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're allies with Russia. So there is, just saying that we're allied with the people of Israel doesn't really answer the question that he was getting at. And there's a reason she's trying so desperately to dodge it. Then we switch gears back to America. All right. And he gets into the American economy. And this was a nightmare for several different reasons. Let's take a listen to the cut we have on it.
My plan, Bill, if you don't mind, my plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, You invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations.
But we're dealing with the real world here. How are you going to get this through Congress?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, they don't. No one does. Literally nobody knows what you're talking about. We've tried. We've tried harder than anyone on this show. We go through it word by word every time you speak. We're still unclear. All right, let me back up. So he gets into the economy and he kicks it off in a question you did not hear there, where he says, there are a lot of signs the American economy is doing very well, better than most countries, I think. But the American people don't seem to be feeling it. Groceries are 25% higher, and people are blaming you and Joe Biden for that. Are they wrong? So this is actually a present by Bill Whitaker to Kamala Harris. The economy's doing really well, better than most countries. But some people don't seem to feel it, and it's probably because of those high groceries. That's what our problems are limited to now, high groceries. He knows very well that she has this stupid plan that she all but abandoned because economists on the left and the right came out and said, what the F are you saying? The groceries being high is not a price gouging problem. But that was her very first economic speech. Remember she gave? She got lambasted by the left and the right, and she's stuck to it since then as though this is a real plan. So he gives her the opportunity. Groceries, you know what the answer to this one is, Kamala. Groceries are still up 25% higher, and some people are blaming you. Are they wrong? This was a gift to her. He absolutely could have done a much harder hitting question on this, and I think missed an opportunity. Murderers Row would have done it. And just wrote down a couple of stats as I was thinking about how would I have gotten after this. Gas prices are $1 higher right now per gallon than they were under Donald Trump. Inflation was up 19% for the first several years of the Biden-Harris administration. Under Donald Trump, it was around 6% for his first 42 months. If you compare the first 42 months for each, 19% under you, 6% under Trump. The stock market right now is producing a return of about 11.5%. Under Trump, it was 16.5%. Electricity costs are up 25% versus where they were under Donald Trump. I have news for you, Bill Whitaker. It isn't just a feeling that people are having. It's actual expenses that they're seeing in their monthly balance sheet, in their monthly checking account, in their panic when they go, yes, to the grocery store, but also to the gas station, when they check their 401ks, and when they have to pay their electric bill at the end of the month. So it's more than just the feels. And when crafting a tough question, you know exactly how to, you don't leave her wiggle room. You throw the numbers at her, and then it's not, are people wrong about their feeling? It's what do you say to people who look at those statistics and say, I was better off under Donald Trump? That's the question. All right. So what does she say? She's like, great. It appears we're both on the same page about how great things are. And she expands right on, right? She says, we now have historic low unemployment in America. Among all groups of people, we have an economy that's thriving by all macroeconomic measures. I got 10 to 1. She doesn't know what macroeconomic means. And to your point, prices are still too high. And I know that we need to deal with it, which is why part of my plan, you mentioned groceries, Bill. She was like, thank you. Part of my plan is what we must do to bring down the price of groceries. So now they make an edit, and Bill jumps in just to summarize it. Harris says she'll press Congress to pass a federal ban on price gouging for food and groceries, but details are yet to be defined. Okay, but he does not offer anything along the lines of the pushback I just outlined for you, that she was ripped by economists on the left. Remember that Washington Post piece we went through in detail on the show where the woman was like, hey, pro tip, when they're calling you a communist, maybe don't make your first speech about communist-like policies including price controls, especially when the grocer's margin is only less than 1 percentage point on their markups. What exactly is Kamala Harris and Congress going to do to pull back on that huge margin to change things for you at the grocery store? Nothing. There's nothing they can do. Inflation caused the high prices. Her out-of-control spending caused the high prices. And that's the unsaid gorilla between the two of them. Not raised by Bill Whitaker. Being able to run your business on your schedule is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. If mailing items like legal documents, checks, or marketing materials takes up a lot of your time, Stamps.com is the time saver you need. Cut down hours spent mailing and shipping with Stamps.com and do it all on your own timeline. From small businesses to multi-location organizations, Stamps.com handles all your mailing and shipping needs wherever, whenever. Take care of mailing and shipping wherever you are, even on the go, with the Stamps.com address. All you need is a computer and a printer. That's all you need. They even send you a free scale. Easily schedule package pickups through your Stamps.com dashboard and automatically see the cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers. Get rates you can't find anywhere else, like up to 89% off USPS and UPS. Order supplies and even printers from the supply store when you run low. Sign up at Stamps.com and enter code MK for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. That's Stamps.com, code MK. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.